Yeah, that's one thing, I say, because when I sit down and I sit back and I just sit there and I try to gather all the pieces and I think to myself about how everything transpired, or how everything is at this current moment, and to be honest with you, and quite frankly, I like I can't fathom, like I can't gain an understanding of why in the first place that I had that that there's been such a deprivation, of certain what I would say is certain privileges that I should hold that others hold and they exercise. But for me, it seems different. And my problem is there's no cause for that difference. And that, like there's no reason for that because and there's just nothing, there's no substantial or no substance to that part, and then in conjunction with everything else, that's even more like it came as a shock to me, a surprise for me when when I sit there and I gain it and I learn, and I observe the nature of the reality, you know, that I face as a writer and artist, and it's the strangest thing, I'm not for the what why am I in a position to where I must compromise my pursuit, compromise my passions, my happiness is what makes me or brings me joy and things, for naught. Like it doesn't make sense. I'm not forcefully imposing any of my contribution on anybody. You know, I'm not I'm not doing nothing that would, create such a reaction. And it's hard for me to maintain certain connections, due to, it being the catalyst and the, originators of this this satanic stronghold, and that's been cast upon me, that I've been thrown into, boxed around into, or whatever the situation is, and it still puzzles and behooves me, and I say that to say that because like when it's like in spite of everything that I've already said, that remains the constant, that remains a constant. My disbelief, like at everything, how I can't understand as to why it is like that in the first place, But saying as to how it is what it is, that I have to deal with, what I'm faced with, but I still don't got that clarity, as to why it had to be taking place in the first place. Because of course, there's causes and effects to reactions and things that you go through in life, trial and error, make mistakes, you learn lessons and everything. But there's also a certain level, just as with the concept of cause and effect, and how it been a reaction for equal and opposite reaction for every reaction that takes place. You know what I'm saying? That's an equal and opposite reaction. There's nothing that I've done or no mistake, like to that magnitude that would be equal and opposite to this what I've been dealing with and what I've been going through. As an artist, writer, for so long. There's nothing that I've done that equals up to that. This is like it's ridiculous, and it's egregious, like, and I don't have that understanding. But I know one thing, is that God is a just God, and you will get His justice in one way or another. So it's not a question of that. Something will happen upon the further restriction of me exercising my privileges that everybody else able to do freely and have been for so long. And I'm not understanding why. Where is that deterrence? Like what? It's hard for me to. I don't get it. And I'm not, like I said, I don't know everything. You know, I'm not the wisest, smartest person in the world. You know, but I got the spirit to lead and guide me and teach me all truths. But that's one thing that still puzzles. Because like one thing about my I function in rationality, I like that, and I realize spiritual warfare is not rational. It's a lot of irrationality in spiritual warfare, but that's not any kind of justification for anything that's evil. You know, that's just a rough observation of reality, and I can't find nothing substantial, or I can't see a reason, for that, and me as a person, and given what I stand on, and what I live for, and I don't. There's nothing there, like, but I know I'm not, I'm not at liberty to forfeit or surrender all I put into my art for my passion, and compromise and just surrender it to oblivion, you know, for no reason. And there's so many concepts and things that constructs, intellectual constructs and things that set around to my detriment that I had no awareness of. You know, like, it's weird, it's very weird, man. I'm not understanding why me, out of, what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of questions, like, what, like, at the end of the day, it leaves you with one big, all caps, what the heck, you feel me? That's the purpose of this recording, to express that, that is where I'm constantly at, like, in the most intense way, like, what the heck, in spite of everything else that I'm saying, and I'm illuminating these tactics, at the end of the day, it always returns back to that question, like, what the heck, it's the strangest thing, I like to function in facts and rationality, you feel me? And it's the strangest thing for me. Dang, that was loud. But yeah, man, hey, I don't understand. And then, various other aspects still way down, it's nothing short of terrorism that I've been on and subjected to, and it follows me. Wherever town I go, like, it follows me, the same thing everywhere. You know, I don't do anything to deserve it. I don't do anything to bring that on myself. I follow rules. I'm a law-abiding citizen. And all of that. There's no reason for it, and that's as an artist and as a person. I don't deserve such degrading treatment. You know, and I'm wise enough to know that. And so that's why, I also say that the world is getting to a point now where one or two things going to happen. There will be some kind of reform, for the place, and the land, or there will be, a war, you know. And my thing is, why must they have gotten to that point, You know what I'm saying? Like, it is directly proportional to whether or not I express or embrace my art form, which is the weirdest and strangest jump, because what I'm embracing is not of Satan in the first place. So why is there, why is there such resistance to it in the first place? You know, that poses some other questions. It shouldn't be that level of magnitude of resistance to anything that I'm saying. I have to say. It's not satanic. It's not evil. It's not violent. You know, at the end of the day, though, God will have atonement in one shape or in one way, shape, or form. God is always going to get his. And just as his power invested in me and through me, I'm always, I'm going to get mine, regardless. You feel me? And in this case, mine is just to do the will of the Lord. It's not no ambition for myself, you know. And then you see it's gravitating toward, and that's why I say you can see and tell how things are going, It's gravitating towards ultimately a battle between God and just flat out versus the world, which is Satan. And it's getting clearer. That's my thing. It's getting clearer. I'm a prophet in the world. I'm a mouthpiece of God, and I'm showing you, like, and you see it, like, just in action. Prophecies right now. It's gravitating to that point. Slowly but surely, it's gonna end up being God versus flat out versus the world. Because if I'm of God and I'm speaking of God, then, I mean, that's it. That's my master. I try and I live. Let life be a testimony. Let my life be a testimony through the power of God and the faith there, and the fruits speak for themselves. You feel me? I don't have no shame embracing the fruits. It's heading to that direction, man. Just as it says, a fool ruins their own life, then rages against God. And that's another thing we see it now. Just as I can be blamed for destruction or something that happens for us, to anyone or anything that plot or did evil or working evil against something that's of God. So at the end of the day, it's that same quote in the proverb is manifested and the prophecy fulfilled, like right there in plain sight, because I know I'm working of God and the spirit of God that works in me, to do his purposes. And so if I'm blamed for, the destruction of something that irrationally set out for evil against me in the first place, then whatever was, the destiny or the end result or whatever happens, to that, whatever that factor, it's not my problem. I can't be responsible for that because I didn't. I mean, what I have to, I don't have anything to do with that. The only connection to that, is the weapon that was formed against me irrationally, wrongfully, and falsely. That's not my. I didn't do anything to earn that. I can't be, and that's that quote that, yet I'm blamed and I'm raged against, and so it's folly, just like that proverb verse. But I'm finna close this thing. But yeah, man, it's like, what the heck, man? It's crazy. Like, just looking at it, and these are among things that I constantly ponder out throughout my days. Like, even while I'm in intense spiritual warfare, I'm still thinking about this. Like, in the first place, like, why, why me? Like, why this had to be? Feel me? Don't make no sense, man. I don't like in the physical world and thinking of things naturally and realistically. I don't know persecutors. They don't know me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I already exposed and disbanded and illuminated the fact that I was involved in smear and distortion campaigns. So that right there, should naturally and rationally cause them to question any slander, anything, word that they may have heard about me because of the slander and the defamation that I indeed confirmed and proven was at one point a factor in my life, and for a long run, a long time. So I mean, how can you deny that? So at the end of the day, the only enemies that I have are those who want to be enemies, those who choose, like those who hate God, God haters, which is in Romans, in the chapter, first chapter of Romans, you know, because there's no blame and there's no condemnation for anybody in Christ Jesus, you know. So the only opposition is Satan. When you break it down like a fraction, like that's it. In the equation, the only opposition is Satan. And so now, as you know, as the kingdom nears, and the kingdom is in our midst, but as the time goes closer to the very, very end, you finna start seeing things align more and more, and evil is being normalized. So when it gets so normalized to the point where that shock of conscience is gone, and then Satan can freely roam and do what he pleases. It's getting there. It's gravitating to that point slowly but surely. It's getting to a point where evil is normalized, and then there will be nothing. Satan won't have no reason to hide. You're gonna be able to do whatever you want to do. It's getting there. Morals, rules, all of that is slowly being disbanded, being destroyed and fading away. You know, faith remaining away though. My